Please join me in welcoming to the stage, Andrea Donsky.
Morning, everybody. Is everyone excited to learn about menopause today? Yes. So first of all, I am so excited to be back in Utah. I have not been here since 2008, and I forgot about how beautiful this state is with all the incredible mountains. So thank you, Tranont, for having me. I am so happy to be here. So today we're going to talk about menopause, and I'm going to take you through some definitions. We're going to talk about data, and then I'm going to provide you with solutions. Does that sound good? All right. So what is the first thing that comes to mind? Just shout it out when you think of the word menopause. First thing. Hot flashes, exactly. Hot flashes. It was the first thing I thought about too. Now, it makes sense because hot flashes are all that we see and hear around us, right? So these are examples of images that came up for me when I did a quick search on the word menopause. There's a lot of fans in this picture, right? Or we see funny memes like this. Menopause means never having to say you're chilly again. Or we see funny memes like this. The 7 stages of menopause. So in addition to being sweaty, we're also itchy, bitchy, sleepy, bloated, forgetful, and psycho. Okay, so talking about psycho, AI sees us as psycho too. I mean, we are in 2025. And a couple of months ago, this was probably in the fall, I was out for dinner with my family, and I have 3 kids. My oldest is the son, he's 21. And he was really excited because as I'm writing my book, I use ChatGPT a lot. But ChatGPT came out with their 4.0 version. So he said, Mom, ChatGPT, their 4.0 is amazing. It can draw pictures. You just have to prompt it and it'll come up with a picture. I'm like, oh, that's super cool. I love it. He's like, can I do one for you? I'm like, sure. He's like, okay, ChatGPT, draw a picture of my mom. She's a nutritionist and she's in menopause. This is what it came up with. You cannot make this stuff up. So ChatGPT got the psycho part, that's for sure. Stigma. So what if I told you that hot flashes actually aren't the #1 most common symptom of menopause? Would that surprise you? It surprised me because it made me question whether or not I was in menopause when I had my first hot flash. For the longest time, I thought my story went like this. This was 2011, and I had my 3rd baby at the age of 41. At 42, my postpartum symptoms never went away. In fact, many of them got worse. I was exhausted all the time. My brain fog was absolutely terrible. I was gaining weight and losing weight, and when I gained it, I had a hard time losing it. I was all over the place. My moods, let's not even go there. The rage, the sadness, I just felt off all the time. And then when I would ask friends around me, because I'm a 1970 baby, I would ask my friends, and I'm like, do you feel the same way? And they're like, no, I don't know what you're talking about, Andrea. I felt like I was on an island all by myself. I felt so alone. And then 2 months after my 47th birthday, I was standing in my office. I remember this like it was yesterday, and I got my first hot flash. And right away I thought, wait a minute. Is everything I've been feeling over the last several years because I'm in menopause? Isn't menopause for older women like my mother and my grandmother? I'm only 47, I don't understand this. And all of these thoughts came racing through my mind. Maybe I'm not relevant anymore, my career is over. And as silly as it sounds, these were real thoughts that were going through my mind. My anxiety kicked into overdrive. I didn't even know the word perimenopause existed. That's how little I knew about this phase of life, and I had been in the health and wellness industry at that point for 17 years. It was my job to help people understand what was happening to their body, yet I knew nothing about it. I now realize that I started perimenopause in my mid-30s. They started with something called phantom smells. And phantom smells are when you smell things that other people don't. And the biggest phantom smell for women in menopause is smoke. Anybody have that? Smoke is a phantom smell, exactly. Second is BO, and then mildew. Does that answer some questions? I had no idea either, and I went to several doctors just to find out what they were, only for them to tell me I was fine. Now we know it's a perimenopause symptom. Of course, you always want to check it out, but it is a symptom. So I really wanted to understand what other women were feeling. So just by a quick show of hands, how many of you in this room are in menopause or postmenopause? Let me see. Okay, thank you. How many of you are in perimenopause? How many of you have absolutely no idea what stage you're in? Okay, so keep your hands up. Everyone who just said they have no idea. Nice and high. That tracks. Because my research shows that about 20% of women have absolutely no idea. 1 in 5 of us have no idea, and I was one of those 1 in 5. So let's talk definitions so that by the time I am done today, you will all walk out as pros. Perimenopause are the years before menopause. So they can last anywhere from a couple of months to 14 plus years. I now realize, that I was in perimenopause for 14 years, 11 of which I had no idea. 0 clue. I had one woman tell me that she was in perimenopause for 20 years. We could start perimenopause anytime after the age of 35, like I talked about yesterday, sometimes even earlier. Most of us, though, will go into perimenopause in our 40s and 50s. Menopause is once you've gone 12 months or 365 days without a cycle. It's technically just 1 day. And the average age for menopause in North America is 51 and a half. You're also considered to be in menopause when your sex hormones like estrogen and progesterone are in the menopausal ranges as well. Postmenopause is everything after menopause. So technically, postmenopause and menopause are the exact same thing. Now here's why that's important. When people will say to me, Andrea, what do you do for a living? I'm like, oh, I'm a health and wellness advocate, and I'm a published menopause researcher, and I educate about menopause. And women in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond will say, oh, I'm way past that. Who thinks they're way past menopause? Hands up. So, and this is important because when you're speaking to new customers and potential customers, and they will say this to you, here's what you're gonna say. Well, actually, we are never past menopause. Because once we go into menopause, we are in menopause for the rest of our life. So if any customers or potential customers say I'm past it, you're like, no, you're not. I got lots of products for you. And it's important because we need to understand this, right? We need to understand who we're speaking to. And because we are going to live anywhere from 1/3 to half our life in menopause, and we are more prone to diseases like dementia, osteoporosis, and heart disease as we go into this phase of life, it is more important now than ever that we focus on nutrition, lifestyle, and supplements. So if it were up to me, I would completely get rid of the word postmenopause, and I would just say that we're in menopause. So there's perimenopause, and then there's menopause. I'd like to get rid of the postmenopause word. So, show of hands again. How many of you have or are currently suffering with menopause symptoms? Hands up, really high. A lot of you. Look around the room, a lot of you. Well, it's a good thing Tranont has a solution for you now. Many solutions. And by the way, for the men who are laughing, you can go through andropause. Just by the way, it's not only us. Male menopause is a thing, by the way. Okay, so several years ago, I was at a party with my husband, and I bumped into an old friend. And we were catching up on what we were doing, and I asked her what she was up to, and she's like, oh my gosh, I am doing the coolest thing. I am creating an app for menopause symptoms. And I kind of went, I feel bad, because I kind of looked at her and I'm like, an app for symptoms? Like, don't you need to have a lot of symptoms? She's like, no, Andrea, I'm telling you, there's like 34 to 40 symptoms. There's a lot. I was like, oh, wow, that is a lot. I had no idea. So I went home. The way my brain works, I'm so data-driven. I created a doc, and I started tracking all these symptoms. And soon enough, I came to like 80, 85 different symptoms. I'm like, there's way more than the 34 to 40 that she was talking about. So in 2022, I decided to launch a survey. It's our first survey, and it was called our Signs and Symptoms Survey. And I wanted to understand what the women in our community were experiencing. Did it track with the 34 to 40 or the 85 different symptoms? And what we discovered is that there are 103 different symptoms of perimenopause and menopause. Is anybody surprised? Well, but there is a lot of positivity in it because there's solutions. So a lot of women, when they go to their, you're going to see, I'm going to talk about some of the other surveys that we have, but a lot of women are told certain things, like to deal with it and that their symptoms aren't real. But I'm here to tell you, your symptoms are real. 103 plus symptoms. So this past December, we wanted to publish our research because there really wasn't anywhere in any medical journal where it talked about the number of symptoms. So our Signs and Symptoms survey was published in the journal Menopause in December of 2024, which is very exciting. So now we know there are actual quantifiable number of symptoms. And in September, I was able to showcase our 4 posters at the Menopause Society's annual conference. So what are the top 10 most common symptoms of perimenopause and menopause according to research? So this is based on 5,100 responses. The abstract that was published in the journal Menopause was based on 2283. We're now at 5,100. It's ongoing. So this is a huge number of women. So the number 1 symptom is fatigue and a lack of energy. How many of you are exhausted all the time? Very common. Number 2 is brain fog. Number 3 are sleep issues. Number 4 is memory loss and forgetfulness. Number 5 is anxiety. Number 6 is loss or low libido. Number 7 is lack of concentration. Number 8 is lack of focus. Number 9 is joint pain. And coming in at number 10 is? Number 10. Number 11 is a lack of patience. I don't know, I think I had that symptom my whole life though, but. Then we have night sweats. Then we have slower metabolism, digestive problems, and changes in body shape. This is where the weight gain comes in for a lot of women, and about half of the women said that they gain weight in perimenopause and menopause. Digestive issues, our digestive system is changing and shifting all the time. You might notice more gas and bloating, constipation, loose stools, indigestion. Then we have dry, itchy skin, itchy ears, headaches or migraines, emotional weepiness, moods, and social anxiety. I hear from so many women that they just don't want to go and socialize the way they used to do it. So on average, we found in our research that there are 31, women are experiencing on average 31 different symptoms. That's a lot. 50 to 90% of the top 10 most common symptoms are cognitive or mental health related. How much do we hear about the mental health component about it? Right. But yet, our research shows that 50 to 90% of those top 10 symptoms are mental health and cognitive related. Women in perimenopause are more likely to have fatigue, anxiety, a lack of patience, and emotional and weepiness. Women in menopause are more likely to have sleep issues, hot flashes, low libido, a slower metabolism, and changes in body shape. So for example, where we used to gain weight in our legs and our bum, now we're finding it's accumulating around the belly. And it's hard. There are also lesser known symptoms. Now, this is something that always surprises people, especially when I share it on social media. For example, itchy ears. Right, how many, right? It's so common in the inner ears, itchy ears. Incontinence, impending doom, loss of appetite, BO in one or both armpits. And maybe your favorite t-shirt that you wore all the time, you can't wear anymore because you just stink all the time. Electric shocks, runny nose, cold flashes. That's a big one. Vertigo, pins and needles, burning scalp, burning mouth, burning tongue, burning feet, health anxiety, and phantom smells. So I love data, and as a researcher, the more data, the better. That can be data N of 1 research, where I'm continually doing research on myself, reading medical journals, or speaking to the women in our community. And we currently have 11 research surveys on our website. And my goal is to help women to understand, and I also want to understand what their pain points are. So I'm going to take you through a little bit of our data. So this is our sleep research. This was also published in the journal Menopause in December. So we wanted to understand, so we saw that sleep, 66% of us aren't sleeping as well, and we wanted to understand why are we not sleeping specifically in perimenopause and menopause. And we found out that most women said that 64% of women said that they wake up between 2 and 4 a.m. Does that happen to anybody waking up between 2 and 4 a.m.? A lot of you, right? Yeah. So super common. So as a health expert for 25 years now, my first thought was, it's got to be cortisol rising at the wrong time, too early. Got to be stress related, right? But I couldn't prove my hypothesis yet, but I'll show you on the next slide. Second reason is bathroom visits. I've had women tell me they wake up every hour on the hour to go to the bathroom. Night sweats, number 3, and number 4 is anxiety, stress, or a racing heart or mind, heart palpitations. So I wanted to dig into the 2 to 4 a.m. a little bit more. So we launched our stress and anxiety survey. And as you could see, the other one had almost 3,400 responses. This is at almost 1,500 responses. And we asked women, are you more stressed now than you were before? Or are you less or about the same? 66% of women said they are more stressed now than they were before. And we are less able to cope with it. And we also asked them if they wake up between 2 and 4 a.m. Over 50% of the women said they do. And then that's when I dug a little bit deeper. And we're like, okay, so why are you waking up? 67% of the women say that they're waking up because of stress-related feelings. Anxiety, heart racing. So what it showed me is that my hypothesis was right. Stress is the number 1 reason we are not sleeping in this phase of life. And when we asked women if they're doing anything to manage their stress levels, 60% said that they are. We also did a libido survey. And we asked women if their libido has changed since going into perimenopause and menopause. 91% of women said that yes, their libido has decreased since going into perimenopause and menopause. About 5% said they stayed the same. 3% said they increased. Lucky them. That's a very small amount, but 3%. And then 1% said they were unsure. And then we asked them if they did see a decrease in their libido or sex drive, how did it affect their relationship? Many of them said that they're living as roommates. They're working on fixing it together outside of couples therapy, and others have said that not much has changed. And then we asked them if they shared how they were feeling, if their sex drive has changed with anyone, and most women said they shared it with their partner and then their doctors or healthcare providers. We asked them what advice they received. The number 1 piece of advice across the board was to use lubrication. Then hormone therapy. Compassion but no advice. Do it anyway, take it for the team, it's part of being a wife. These are real answers, I am not making this up. take antidepressants, compassion and understanding with advice, go on dates with your partner, use a vibrator, use it or lose it. Try natural supplements. Well, that's a good thing with For Her, right? It has Estro-G. Lose weight, vaginal estrogen, experiment with sex toys, find other ways to enjoy sex, drink wine, and couples therapy. So then, I love that there's men in the room, by the way. I just love it. So then we wanted to find out, we had a lot of women who would, and then probably this would be, I'd say probably the most engaged survey we had, is that women, when they go to see their doctors, they are met with different approaches. So we asked women if they're speaking to their healthcare providers during perimenopause and menopause. So 1,336 women answered this. This is to date. By the way, this is another survey. That, the anxiety, the sleep, and the signs and symptoms were the 4 surveys we had published. So we found out that 89% of women are speaking to their doctor or healthcare provider about their symptoms. So that's a lot. When we asked them who brought up the topic, meaning who brought up the topic of your symptoms being connected to being in perimenopause and menopause, 75% of the women said that they brought it up to their doctors. 40% of women said that they were dismissed. Deal with it, it's part of life, every woman goes through it. Or they've been told that they're too young to be in menopause or perimenopause in their 40s and 50s. That's a big one that you'll hear and people might tell you. 15% said the topic was never mentioned, and only 10% of healthcare practitioners and doctors brought up the topic or brought up the possibility to their patients. Only 10%. So this is where we need to see some change. And then when we were asked what solutions they were offered, 39% said antidepressants, 38% said hormones, and I was actually happy to see that coming in at 24% was supplements. So that's a good thing for us, right? And then we also did a survey for women in the workplace. And we asked women if their symptoms are affecting their work. 80% of the women said yes, their symptoms are affecting their work. And then we asked them if they're taking time off work because of their symptoms. 73% said they either took time off, wanted to but didn't, or thought about it. So thankfully there are treatment and solutions available. I'm going to just take a quick sip of my clear protein here. So delicious, right? I'm going to talk about the protein. So there's nutrition, lifestyle, and supplements. That's my lane. As a nutritionist, that's what I focus on, and I stay in my lane. There's also the option of hormones, but I leave that to the experts. So when it comes to nutrition, what we need to be focusing on is eating a balanced whole foods diet. So important. Minimizing things that we know that could potentially exacerbate our symptoms or even trigger them. Protein. 20 to 30 grams of protein per meal. That's why Clear is so amazing. It gives you that 20 grams of protein to top up your meal or even as a snack. We need to make sure we're getting enough protein. It is absolutely crucial. Quality fats, olive oil, butter, ghee, tallow, avocados, avocado oil, olives. All of these are super important to help feed our brain. Fiber. 25 to 35 grams of fiber a day through legumes, complex carbohydrates, fruits, nuts and seeds, veggies, right? Eating the rainbow. And then making sure that you're hydrated. Try to drink half your weight in ounces. It's a really good kind of way to look at it. Hydration is important for our brain, our digestion. It's important for elimination. It's important for energy. It's important for so many different things. And then we have lifestyle. So as you saw, we're more stressed now than we were before, and we're less able to cope with it. Lifestyle is crucial. Stress management techniques. We're constantly in sympathetic mode. So we need to do what we can to stimulate the parasympathetic. That's the part of our nervous system that helps us to relax and take a deep breath. So watching funny movies, deep breathing, meditation, exercise, walks in nature, forest bathing is amazing. Spending time with people you love and not spending time with people that you don't. Trying to minimize that. and spending time with animals if animals make you happy and less stressed. And then we've got supplements. So I believe there are foundation supplements that every woman in menopause and perimenopause should be looking at considering. Number 1, magnesium bisglycinate. I always call it the red cape of magnesiums because it is so great for so many different things. We need magnesium. It's important, but many of us deplete it because stress depletes magnesium. When our magnesium is depleted, we are more stressed. It becomes this vicious cycle. So magnesium is amazing. It helps with sleep. It helps with over 300 different functions in our body. Omega-3s, excellent for lowering inflammation, brain health, skin health, hair health. Fiber, digestive enzymes. Any type of digestive support is excellent for us. Vitamin D plus K, K2MK7, helps with bone health. Melatonin, I really love. Estrogen, as you saw, that's in For Her, as well as adaptogenic herbs like ashwagandha, which is in For Her, as well as holy basil. So adaptogenic herbs help us cope better with stress. So how do we normalize menopause and address the elephant in the room? By talking about it. Talking about it with your friends, your colleagues, your family. I have 3 kids, as I mentioned earlier, and we talk about it very openly in my house with my husband. So my son's 21, my daughters are going to be 20. One's going to be 20 next week, and my other daughter is 14. And whenever I get hot, and I'm in the house and I'm hot, because usually we'll keep the temperature pretty cool, my daughter will say, "Mom, how are you cold? You're in menopause." Like it became this thing, right? Like they totally get menopause, and we're very open about it. And I'm very open about it on social media, too. So my son, as proud as he is of me, he's also not so comfortable with me always sharing stuff on social media. So this was a text that I got for him one night when I did a post on vaginal dryness. "I'm going to puke. I was about to go to bed, and now I won't be able to sleep for weeks. Thanks, Mom." So where's Tina? Tina, you want to talk about vaginal dryness? I am game. I'm totally happy to do it. And we also need fundamental change in our medical system as well as our school system. I know that it's changing and more doctors and healthcare providers are learning about perimenopause and menopause, but I've spoken to so many who said that they just haven't learned anything about it. And then we need to learn about it in school. Think about it in school. So my daughter, when she was in grade 5, I looked at her curriculum and they learn about puberty, but they don't learn about perimenopause or menopause. So many of us come into this stage of life, we're like, whoa. Like, it's like we were so surprised, right? Just, I'm sure as many of you were, because we never learned about it. We didn't talk about it with our moms. We didn't talk about it with our grandmothers. So hopefully, or our doctors, and hopefully this is going to change. And think about kids who are in high school. This is something I think a lot about, because when we're teenagers and we're fighting with our moms, right, we have this friction. Imagine how much more understanding and relationship saving that potentially could happen if our kids understood what we were going through. So hopefully we will see some changes there. And we also need fundamental changes in the workplace. So I love that Tranont is talking openly. I love that you had me come here and do a whole presentation on menopause. It's incredible. Yes. And then when you talk about with your customers, you might find maybe some people are still hesitant or ashamed. Just let them know that you're there if they have any questions. Let them know that you can answer anything about the products that you have, and go with where they are, and help educate them, because now you're all pros on understanding the different stages of menopause. Now, I know we talk a lot about the negatives, but there are so many incredible positives around menopause. So many. Number 1, no more periods or PMS. Number 2, we know what we like and what we don't like. Many of us are in touch with our needs and we express them. So here's the interesting thing about estrogen. Estrogen is like a Pollyanna filter. It's what makes us compassionate and caring. One estrogen, when it kind of falls, that kind of goes away. So that disease to please goes away too. We're able to express ourselves better. How many of you find that has happened to you, where you're really able to kind of be who you are and own it? I love it. Many of us are setting boundaries. If you were saying yes to everything before, maybe now you're like, no. No is a full sentence, as I learned from Jane Fonda. Period. End of sentence. No. And then we have more life experiences. So this was something that I love because when I was turning 50, I had a hard time with it. And I remember I listened to a podcast with Oprah. She was interviewing 3 models who were in their 60s. And they were talking about aging and having a hard time with aging. And then Oprah said, and they didn't want to say their ages. And Oprah said, I don't understand because I'm so proud of how old I am. Because where I'm at actually means I have that much more life experience. And after hearing that, I was like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And ever since then, I embrace my age to the point where I will tell anyone and everyone how old I am. Everyone and anyone. I don't care. 55 and proud. And we're redefining what it means to get older. So many of us are Gen Xers between 45 and 60. And we're changing the way, what does it mean? When we think about aging, what does it mean? So this is an image of the Golden Girls. Can anyone guess how old they were in these pictures? A little bit older. They were 53 to 50, except for Sophia, of course. They were 53 to 55 when they started the Golden Girls. 53 to 55. So, here's what I want to leave you with in terms of redefining aging. And I want you to yell it out. Tell me what you think. What are words that come to mind when you see these images of women? Sexy. Right? All of that. Strong, active, sexy, empowered, powerful, supportive, fit, strong, right? All of that. Confident. I love it. Happy. This is how we are redefining aging. Sorry? Vocal. I love it. Yes. Right? We're saying what we want. We're expressing how we feel. Forgetting that Pollyanna filter, right? So, to end my presentation, I want to leave you with the following. So menopause is a natural phase of life that every woman will go through if she's blessed to live long enough. And remember, potential customers, anyone over the age of 35 for her, and obviously the other products as well. Tranont plays an important role in helping women navigate this phase of life with education and supplements. There are treatment and solutions available, including Tranont science-backed supplements. We talked about the ingredients, the branded ingredients that were used in the products. And then this is probably one of the most important things to keep in mind when you're talking to your customers and potential customers. They need to know that they're not alone. They need to know that you validate them, that you see them. And I know that's something I heard in the video earlier. And they want to know that you understand what they're going through and that you can help them feel better. And that is super important. So thank you for listening to my talk today. I appreciate it.